So, like any other day, I was looking at random Risk of Rain 2 mods to try to find more content for this amazing game, until I stumbled upon a mod that adds new and challenging artifacts. This mod actually adds an artifact called the Artifact of Pygmy. This artifact effectively shrunk me down into 1/4 of my size, making me smaller than not only every enemy in the game, but also most projectiles in the game as well. I thought this run would be relatively difficult, since I was so small, so here are some things I kept in mind. I'm 1/4 of my size, so were my legs. Dodging was going to actually be pretty difficult, not to mention I would have to dodge things for literally 5 times my size. MITHRIX was gonna flatline me if I got anywhere within 10 feet of his massive hammer, so I would need to snipe him in order to stay alive, try to get some high ground. I needed speed items. Without speed, it would take me years to travel the terrain, and it would make enemies scale a lot quicker than I could. Which is exactly why I chose to use the Artifact of Command for this run. Now, it was time for the difficulty. Clearly, I wasn't going to play on Trizzle, because if you do that, you're an absolute soulless probe. But I was also scared to play on Monsoon, so I just stuck with Rainstorm. As for my character, I was going to play Acrid at first, since he is the best character, and I also wanted to shrink him down small enough for him to fit on a keychain. But Acrid just relied too heavily on melee gameplay, which is not such a good idea when you're this small. So I decided to play Multi. So here's what it's like to be 1/4 of your size in Risk of Rain 2. As soon as I entered, I realized that everything was so much bigger than I was. Starting with this flower. The rush to get speed items was on. Except I was so slow, so excruciatingly slow. If you consider the fact that I'm 1/4 my size, I'm quite sure that I'm moving 1/4 of my usual base speed, unless my math is wrong, which it probably is. For my first item, I decided to get a hoof, which made my speed increase by 14%. And with my new acquired speed, I made my journey to get more items. While scavenging for said items, I got clapped by a golem, chose to get a crack needle from a chest while being chased by a horde of beetles, who were assumably from the Irish mob. They got way too close to me, so I shoved my rebar into them just like the rest of their comrades. I recruited a healing drone that was about the size of a bee, that is, if a bee were in Risk of Rain 2. And I also recruited a gunner turret, which was about the size of an ant. After I thought I had enough items, I started the first teleporter. During the first boss, I truly discovered how small I really am. The Beetle Queen was fine, but she summoned a large sum of minions that outnumbered and outsized me. But in the end, I swept the Queen's body out of the stadium and took out the rest of the minions as well. Like, I also got a lunar coin off one of the wisps, a green item that turned it into a whip. I've never really liked Abandoned Aqueduct, but my rebar does look pretty cool when impaled into the sand. Not to mention my rebar is like 5 times my size. As sad as it is, I had to fuel my addiction and get yet another crack needle. The attack speed I got from it tied me off for now, but I really needed more. As great as that sounded, I thought I should get a crowbar to pack even more of a punch than I already was. I also picked up a hopu feather and a volcanic egg for movement. The volcanic egg was actually life-changing and has allowed me to fly quickly around the map, and so I cleared out the rest of the map, adding items into my loadout, and also adding a missile drone to the team. But before I did the teleporter, I decided to do something crazy. I actually got a blue orb from the new altar, noting that what may come from it might mean death. The teleporter was another Beetle Queen, except this time I was ready. She died very, very quickly, and so ended another stage. And so I went through the blue portal and into the bazaar. I got a shaped glass and strides of heresy. It was a risky play, but remember, if I was going to snipe MITHRIX, I would need quite the amount of firepower. Now, to my least favorite stage, Scorched Acres. Nothing interesting ever happens here, other than not being able to find the teleporter, if you would consider that interesting. All I did was get items and accidentally pick up a foreign fruit. The boss was actually really scary, and its hooks were a lot larger than I was, and the wisps were not fun either. I still easily clapped them and their minions and proceeded to the next half of the run. Seeing Siren's Call made me very happy. I was going to be able to smite the local alloy warship unit and take what was legally theirs, a red item. So I shot all of the little egg things I could find, and soon a bird probe appeared in the distance. I had not only superior firepower, but I also had the high ground. It started out as a slaughter, but then it quickly became like a fight between a hat and a pipe bomb. Still basically useless, but at least I can try to block some attacks. In the end, this probe died, and I claimed my very own Hardlight Afterburner, which was another game changer as it allowed me to use my strides more often, which ended up saving my life later on. I went to get another volcanic egg to replace my foreign fruit, which was a game-changing play, as I probably would not have killed the MITHRIX without it. Then came the boss fight. 2 worms came up from all angles. It was looking very bad for me when suddenly they crumpled up and died on the floor from fatal rebar wounds. And wow, I got a legendary item. I chose to recruit 2 probes in honor of the one that died for me to make it this far. And just like that, it was basically the last stage. The moon was on the horizon and I could taste MITHRIX's defeat. I got really lucky and got a red item from a chest. I wanted to explode someone, so I got the rocket launcher. After I looted the place, I went straight to the teleporter and summoned someone's grandparents into battle. During this fight, both of my drones died, and I was only able to recover one of them. Rest in peace, healing drone. Now it was time. The moon was upon us, and while I was listening to the best soundtrack in the game, I cleared all of the beacons and started the MITHRIX fight. For the first stage of this fight, I chose to stay on the ground and use my strides when MITHRIX came close to avoid getting hit. MITHRIX kept trying to kill my children, which was very, very unacceptable. But it didn't make for a good distraction, so I could deal lots of damage. Once his first phase was done, all I had to do was kill a variety of moonmen, which was so easy it only took around 30 seconds. Next stage, which was the stage I planned for from the beginning. I was going to use my volcanic egg to fly on top of one of the pillars and snipe him from afar. Though, from the high pillar, I was unable to get a good shot when the MITHRIX came close to me. So, I went to a smaller pillar and began to deal massive amounts of damage. Then it was time for his pinwheel attack, which was another attack I planned out beforehand. This is why I had the strides of heresy. I was easily able to dodge all of the attacks while in my invulnerable state. The rest of that phase was done really soon, but I knew that there would be no issue for the final stage. Since I already do so much damage with the rebar punchers without any items, it went by very quickly. After defeating MITHRIX, I hopped it through a portal, booked it for the ship, while dodging void reavers and moon blasts. When I safely made it back to the ship, I knew I had just scored a victory and beat Risk of Rain 2 while being 1/4 my size. So this was a harder challenge in the beginning than I originally thought, but once it got later on, it became relatively normal. If I could change anything, I would have done this on Monsoon because I feel like the difficulty kind of plateaus towards the end and it wouldn't really get too difficult. And Monsoon runs are relatively easy anyway. Might also do it without command as well. I hope you liked this video because it's kind of new. I plan to do stuff like this in the future as well, but I hope you liked this video because I've never actually done videos in this sort of format before. And I really enjoyed doing it. I do really like putting a lot more effort into one video than making a video each day. So from now on, I'll be putting a lot more work into my videos and focus on putting them out less frequent, but with more effort into each one. So anyway, I'll see you in the next video. I have a lot of cool ideas coming up, and I hope you enjoy them. Anyway, see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.